The top stories tonight in Y News. A new COVID-19 variant detected in South Africa with a high number of mutations has raised concerns among scientists and triggered travel restrictions by a number of countries amid fears of coronavirus transmissions.
Meanwhile, despite the new COVID variant threat, fully vaccinated foreigners from non-visa countries can now enter the Philippines without undergoing facility-based quarantine beginning next month.
Formerly Pharmaceutical Corporation Executive Mohit Dargani denies trying to escape from the Senate investigation into the controversial purchase of COVID-19 items.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Friday, November 26, 2021. I am Herline Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. World health experts are racing to track the concerning rise of a new variant of the coronavirus, which is rapidly outcompeting other versions of the virus in the region of South Africa. Annie Mancilla will give us the details live. Annie, what do experts say about this new variant?
Herline, the variant currently denominated as B11529 reportedly has twice as many of the mutations displayed by the Delta variant. But it's not clear yet whether the mutations make this variant more infectious or whether it causes more severe illness. Tulio de Oliveira, director of South Africa's Center for Epidemic Response and Innovation, explained that scientists had picked up more than 30 changes just to the spike protein. 22 positive cases of the new variant have been recorded in Africa following genomic sequencing. South African Health Minister Joe Phala said the variant has spread rapidly through the Gauteng province, which contains the country's largest city of Johannesburg. However, the minister said it is too early to say whether the South African government would impose tougher restrictions in response to the variant. So far, the new variant has also been detected in Botswana and Hong Kong. Until more is known about the variant, several countries such as the United Kingdom, Israel, and Singapore are already enacting new restrictions on travelers from South Africa and neighboring countries due to the new variant. Herline?
Annie, is this a COVID-19 variant of concern or a variant of interest?
So far, Herline, the World Health Organization said they are still working that out. Dr. Maria van Kerkhove, the WHO's COVID-19 technical lead and an infectious disease epidemiologist, said that monitoring is underway, with researchers working together to understand what these mutations are, but that it will take at least a few weeks to determine the variant's mutations on vaccine efficacy and virus transmissibility. Herline?
Thank you, Annie Mancilla, reporting live from Singapore.
The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF, is ready to implement strict measures if necessary amid the threat of a new variant reported in South Africa. Meanwhile, the Philippines will allow entry of fully vaccinated foreigners from green countries without visas beginning December 1. Rosalie Cos will explain why.
Malacanang assured the public that the government is prepared to undertake immediate actions if necessary, including the implementation of stricter quarantine restrictions. This follows the discovery of a new coronavirus variant in South Africa, which has raised concern.
Kung sakali pong makita ng IATF that there is a need to adjust yung ating mga travel restrictions, kung sakali po na biglang may mga umuspong na mga bagong variants kagaya po nung nabanggit ninyo. And immediately po yan, meron po kaming system in place.
If kinakailangan ng agaran at immediate action, ay gagawin po ng IATF.
The government currently has not adjusted the alert level classification, but it is strictly monitoring any developments regarding the new variant. It is also consistently coordinating with the World Health Organization. The government has repeatedly urged the public not to be complacent, follow health protocols, and get vaccinated against COVID-19. Meanwhile, beginning December 1 to 15, the Philippines will allow the entry of fully vaccinated travelers from green countries without a visa for a limited period of time. These passengers must be holders of passports valid for at least 6 months at the time of arrival and with a return ticket or outbound ticket to their country of origin or next country of destination. They also must present proofs of vaccination recognized by the IATF.
Effective 1 December 2021, fully vaccinated nationals of non-visa required countries under Executive Order Number 408, Series of 1960, as amended, shall be allowed to enter the Philippines until 15 December 2021.
These travelers must undergo testing and quarantine protocols such as submission of negative RT-PCR tests within 72 hours prior to departure. Upon arrival, they are not required to undertake facility-based quarantine and on-arrival RT-PCR tests but must monitor themselves for 14 days. Meanwhile, the testing and quarantine protocols of minors shall follow the protocols of the parent or guardian traveling with them. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, an infectious disease specialist advises not to downgrade the existing alert level system in the National Capital Region or NCR. Aiko Miguel explains why.
Europe is facing a resurgence due to the Delta Plus COVID-19 variant after easing their restrictions, including rules on wearing of face masks. Infectious disease specialist and Department of Health Technical Advisory Group member Dr. Edsel Salvania said the country still cannot afford easing restrictions, especially this holiday season. This is in response to the government bearing the possibility of Metro Manila de-escalating to Alert Level 1 by December. The country's pandemic epicenter, the National Capital Region, is currently on low risk for COVID-19. Dr. Salvania also said it is important that the country should just slowly reopen and monitor for any spikes. It is also crucial to continue strengthening the country's genomic surveillance and restrictive level be in place.
Well, yung alert levels naman po natin nakapako naman yan sa ongoing community transmission. So, kung mababa ang transmission at tuloy-tuloy nga yung paggamit ng PDITR, I don't see any problems naman as long as our healthcare capacity remains manageable. Lahat naman po ng ginagawa natin para ma-prevent yung pagpasok ng mga bagong variants, tuloy naman po talaga yan. For instance, yung ating genomic surveillance and the fact na na-detect na itong variant na to at pinag-uusapan na ng WHO, yung UK nga, nag-travel ban na sila, it shows that yung ating global genomic surveillance is working and hopefully we can prevent the spread of any new variants that come up.
Dr. Salvania stressed the virus still exists. He also warned of the potential threat of another COVID-19 variant, which is the B.1.1.529 detected in South Africa.
Sinusubaybayan po natin ito, bagamat hindi pa naman siya nagte-take over katulad ng Delta, nakakabahala rin yung mutations na taglay nito.
The expert reminds the public not to be complacent to prevent any resurgence of cases and so that possible mutations of virus will not occur in the Philippines. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Health detected 863 new cases of the novel coronavirus disease or COVID-19, pushing the overall tally to 2,830,387. The active cases nationwide totaled to 17,853. Of these, 51.5% have mild symptoms, 21.57% were in moderate condition, 14.2% have severe symptoms, 6.1% were in critical condition, and 6.6% have no symptoms. The death toll soared to 48,017, which was equivalent to 1.70% of the case count after 142 more people died. Meanwhile, 791 more people got better, pushing the recovery tally to 2,764,517, or 97.7% of the case total. Meanwhile, the overall global COVID-19 caseload has topped 260,115,891, while the deaths have surged to 5,183,321, according to the Johns Hopkins University. In its latest update, the university's Center for System Science and Engineering, or CSSE, revealed that the current global caseload and death toll stood at 186,800,826 and 4,031,654 respectively. The U.S. is the worst hit country with the world's highest number of cases and deaths at 48,126,574 and 775,797 respectively, according to the CSSE. In terms of infections, India follows with 34,555,431 cases and 467,468 deaths. In terms of deaths, Brazil comes second with 613,642 fatalities.
The government is now all set for its three-day event called Bayanihan, Bakunahan, or simultaneous vaccination drive against COVID-19. Janice Inhente reports.
The national government urges the public to take advantage of the National Vaccination Days beginning Monday, November 29 until Wednesday, December 1. The initiative hopes to ramp up the country's vaccination rates against COVID-19 by increasing the number of vaccine doses delivered nationwide. The three-day vaccination targets to inoculate 15 million Filipinos across 16 regions outside Metro Manila to bring the Philippines closer to 50% vaccination rate for its target population.
Let's take advantage of the 3 days ng National Vaccination Days para magpabakuna na.
Local governments are still preparing to complete the target population for COVID-19 vaccination. In Quezon City, the LGU will open additional 15 vaccination sites for unvaccinated adults and minors.
Bawal ang walk-in. Bawal talaga, strictly forbidden pa rin ang walk-ins dito sa Quezon City. But they can register na sa ating pong Vax Easy Plus that's found in our Facebook page as well as in our website. They can book their schedule, the day and the time and the venue.
Navotas City LGU will open 7 vaccination sites as well as house-to-house vaccination for senior citizens.
The primary doses are also advised. Pwede rin po sila mag-walk-in for Sinovac, Sinopharm, and AstraZeneca. On those dates ng ating national vaccination, we will cater not only to A1, A2, A3 boosters, we will also cater to the rest of the pediatric population.
Meanwhile, Parañaque LGU advises residents to visit the parañaquecity.ph/bakuna website or its Facebook page, Parañaque City Public Information Office, for their vaccination schedule.
Ang ating pong pamahalaan ng lungsod ay lubos na paghahanda pong ginagawa ngayon, para doon sa sinasabi nating National Vaccination Day. Kaya po yung pagkakataon na yan, amin pong laging pinananawagan sa tulong ng ating mga butihing kapitan na kumbinsihin ang ating mga kababayan na hindi pa bakunado.
Mandaluyong City vaccination sites are also open for non-residents who want to get vaccinated. They just need to register at mandavax.mandaluyong.gov.ph. Those who want to receive COVID-19 vaccine in other LGU in Metro Manila would need to visit their websites or Facebook pages for the details and process of COVID-19 vaccination. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Civil Service Commission is coordinating with the Department of Health on how frequent should on-site government workers undergo RT-PCR testing if they are still unvaccinated. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
In adherence to the guidelines of the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, the CSC is finalizing its policies for unvaccinated on-site government employees. Under the IATF guidelines effective on December 1, on-site workers, including government employees who are still unvaccinated, will be required to undergo regular RT-PCR testing. According to CSC Commissioner Eileen Lizada, workers should fully understand the guidelines, especially when the government will not shoulder the expenses of the regular COVID-19 testing. The agency is already coordinating with the DOH on whether testing should be done per week or every 2 weeks.
Meron hong fina-finalize ngayon ang CSC na policy that will be dealing with yung but we will also be in touch with DOH when we say regular RT-PCR. Ano ba ho talaga yung regular? Is it 1 week? Is it 2 weeks?
Meanwhile, the CSC reminds government employees will be excused from work and will not experience any salary deduction if they get vaccinated during the National Vaccination Days from November 29 to December 1. They will also be excused if they need time to recuperate from the adverse events of the COVID-19 vaccine. Lizada added it will be up to the department heads if they will release a memorandum order excusing their government employees from work who are willing to volunteer during the 3-day vaccination drive.
Ngayon, kung meron hong iba-ibang ahensya ng gobyerno na gusto hong mag-volunteer or if there are LGUs or the DOH needs more, yung sinabi ho ni Dr. Salvana kanina po na kung kinakailangan ng crowd control or baka may mga nurses or doctors within respective agencies at gusto hong maki-assist, most likely po they can as long as they may office order po sila. So kailangan ho tayo ng taong bayan, kailangan ho ng bayan natin ang ating serbisyo.
Meanwhile, the Malacanang responded to workers questioning why November 29 and December 1 are not considered as regular holiday. Acting Presidential Spokesperson Secretary Carlo Nograles said there should be no more setbacks for business establishment and public services, especially after it sustained a heavy blow in operations due to the restrictions brought by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Of course, number one, kailangan nating paandarin ang ating ekonomiya, lalong-lalo sa panahon ngayon. Let's use this, itong pagbaba ng cases ng COVID, magandang nakita na yung numero, this is really a chance and opportunity to rebound economy. That being said, syempre, kailangan natin na magtrabaho. No? At ang i-exempt lang doon, yung hindi pa bakunado at kailangan magpabakuna during those 3 National Vaccination Days.
Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
A suspected sinkhole has emerged in a portion of a street under construction in Barangay Hulo, Mandaluyong City. JP Nunez will give us the details live. Yes, JP, good evening. Go ahead.
Yes, William, good evening. Residents in Mandaluyong City found cracks in front of their houses as a sinkhole emerged during a sewer pipe laying activity of Manila Water. Manuel Santos, who reside meters away from the sinkhole, observed that road is gradually sinking during the project.
Nakita namin, nagbabakbak siya, nag-uukay, sabay-sabay eh. Kaya nayanig. Nung pag-angat niya, bumaksak.
Manila Water temporarily suspended its pipe-laying operation. An officer explains that the incident was unexpected. The quality of the soil in the area easily eroded. They aim to make temporary restoration of the road until Sunday.
Nag-erode talaga yung soil niya. Kaya bumagsak. And then mahina na yung concrete pavement kaya bumigay.
Yung main cause ng incident natin is the soft soil condition dito sa site natin. So yung immediate action na ginawa natin, nilagyan natin ng full enclosure dito sa site. Plus, nakikita nyo, kinocompact na namin yung lupa dito. Piniprepare namin siya for temporary restoration hanggang Sunday.
Sinkhole covers the two-lane of the road and residents fear that their houses might get affected in the future.
Kasi iniisip namin sa mga 2 taon, balang araw, lumindol, baka mahina pagkakatabon niyan. Dumidepensa rin sa amin yan eh. Baka mamaya yugyugin kami ng lindol, walang depensa, madisgrasya.
Siyempre, natatakot kami na wala yung namin dito. Nagkakaroon ng crack yung bahay namin, siyempre, mahirap din yung baka gumuho rin kami.
Manila Water and Mandaluyong LGU assures no houses are yet to be affected by the sinkhole. Evacuation is not an option. The water service provider said backfill construction will be made.
Temporary asphalt tayo. So babakpilan natin yan ng buhangin and then i-compact natin. Meron na tayong mga partials na natapos na.
Once temporary restoration is done, Manila Water will identify how to fix the road to continue pipe laying project. William, Manila Water assures no water interruption will happen in the residential area near the construction project. That is our latest live. Back to you, William.
Yes, thank you. JP Nunez reporting live.
Formerly Pharmaceutical Corporation Treasurer Mohit Dargani tells the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee that they are not trying to escape the investigation. On November 14, Mohit and her sister, formerly President Twinkle Dargani, were intercepted at the Davao City International Airport by the Senate security. They were cited in contempt for not submitting the source documents that were being asked by the committee.
We did not do this to escape or to hide from the investigations. I was just exerting my rights, and the documents that were asked from me and my sister, we have provided. The documents that are being asked from me was never addressed to me up until we were already detained here in the Senate compound.
Mohit also became emotional, saying that they had to travel from one place to another because of her mother's health and Twinkle's mental health.
Seeing her go through so much with my mom, who has been through more than 10 or 12 operations in her life, I came back to the Philippines just to be with them. We're not hiding. Even though we were together, we couldn't be safe. We were not safe with each other. We always had to be in hiding, moving from one place to another place.
When asked by Senator Risa Hontiveros on who financed the Dargani's supposed flight to Malaysia, Mohit says it was paid by his friend named Gary Wong, who is based in Singapore. Meanwhile, Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairperson Richard Gordon bears that formerly Director Lincoln Ong has smuggled a mobile phone inside his room at the Senate building. Gordon says they do not deprive Ong of communicating with his lawyers and with his family through the Senate's security phone. Ong apologizes, adding that he was stopped at some time in communicating with his wife.
I'd like to apologize to the Senate, to the OSAA, that I didn't mean to challenge the authority of the Senate. It was really out of survival instinct because I really miss my family.
Well, let me make the order in front of the whole world that when it comes to communicating with your family within reasonable hours, you may communicate with your family.
Ong is currently under the Senate custody as well as the Dargani siblings as the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee continues its hearings on the government pandemic deals.
The federalismo ng Dugong Dakilang Samahan or PDDS will push for the tandem of Senator Christopher Bongo and Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
The Partido ng Dugong Dakilang Samahan or PDDS is not threatened by the Marcos Duterte Uniteam Alliance. According to Butch Belica, National Advisor of the PDDS, they will back Senator Christopher Bongo for President and Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio for Vice President in the 2022 polls.
Basta kami, Bongo, Sara Duterte sa Vice President,
and adopting all PDP laban senators and allied groups.
Bellica also expressed confidence that Go will not withdraw from the presidential race.
Hindi po niya gagawin yun. Iisipin po niya yung kapakanan ng taong bayan.
Go recently contemplates his 2022 presidential bid, expressing his willingness to make the supreme sacrifice for the good of the country. Bellica said it is not unusual for those running for office to feel exhausted at times. Meanwhile, Marcos and his running mate Mayor Duterte today visited the vote-rich province of Cebu. His running mate, Vice Presidential aspirant Mayor Sara in Cebu, administered the oath to Liloan Cebu Mayor Cristina Garcia Frasco as new member of Lakas CMD. Labor leader Leody de Guzman in Marikina City to support workers who conducted a protest. Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno is in his office to receive 6,600 baricitinib anti-COVID-19 tablets. While Senator Manny Pacquiao visited Bislig, Surigao del Sur, the senator was also set to meet his grassroots supporters. Other presidential aspirants like Senators Panfilo Lacson, Go, and Vice President Leni Robredo has not reported public engagement today. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Commission on Elections believes they can rule over the certificate of candidacy cancellation case against Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Dante Amento tells us why.
The poll body has concluded the preliminary conference on the petition for cancellation against the COC of presidential aspirant Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. today. Comelec spokesperson Director James Jimenez says both parties were given time for the amendments of their respective position and for clarificatory matters.
Ang pinaka-general areas na pinag-usapan ay number one, yung statement of the issue, in which both parties were given the opportunity to say kung ano yung formulation ng issue according to their own opinion, based on their own appreciation of the case, and then amendments and stipulations.
Jimenez added, the Comelec has yet to schedule the filing of memorandum by both parties due to pending incidents or issues needed to be resolved. These are the petition for intervention filed by the group of Attorney Howard Calleja and the motion for the conduct of face-to-face oral arguments by the Marcoses camp.
After the incidents are resolved, then the Comelec will say how long it will give the parties to submit their respective memoranda.
However, the case may be ruled before the release of the final list of candidates in the 2022 elections in December 15, 2021. Meanwhile, some progressive groups flocked to the Comelec this morning before the preliminary conference started. They urged the poll body to resolve the pending cases against the former senator immediately. Marcos should also not be allowed to participate in the upcoming polls for allegedly being a convict.
Nandito kami ngayon sa harapan ng Commission on Election para ipanawagan sa Comelec na i-resolve na yung motion for early resolution ng pinail naming petition for disqualification noong November 18.
Even Imelda Marcos convicted 7 counts. Diba? Malinaw naman na nakinabang sila. Ginagamit nga nila yung kanilang nakaw na yaman para makabalik sa poder at ponduhan yung kanilang kampanya.
Recently, Marcos's camp disclosed that the petition will not prosper for lack of legal basis. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The leading airline companies in the country has augmented their cabin crews as the year ends. Asher Cadapan Jr. details why.
Domestic and international flight bookings continue to increase as pandemic-related restrictions ease due to decreasing COVID-19 cases and high vaccination rate. To complement the surge of demand for air travel, the three major airlines in the country boost their operation as they increase their daily number of flights. With this, the airline companies are bringing back significant number of cabin crews to augment their operation. Airasia recalls their all-stars employees, which include cabin crews, pilots, ground staff, and engineering personnel who were forced to temporarily leave from work due to the limited operation brought about by the pandemic.
Ngayon, we're activating starting December, mag-undergo na ng training yung at least 15%, and then effective January 1, 2022, lahat nitong mga all-stars natin na naka-hibernate ay gradual na rin i-reintegrate sa ating linya.
Cebu Pacific, on the other hand, increases their domestic flights to 6 tourist destinations, which include Boracay Island via Caticlan Airport, Bohol, Cebu, Cagayan de Oro, Davao, and General Santos.
Right now, we're very prepared. Definitely, our staff are fully trained. Are actually fully vaccinated also, yung active flying crew namin. So, additional layer of safety yan for our passengers.
The Philippine Airlines also recalls their cabin crews who went furlough after the travel restrictions. But the flag carrier clarifies that they have yet to rehire those who were retrenched, since around 400 more employees have yet to return from work since flights are still limited.
By December, it will be 1,350 in terms of cabin crew count that will be assigned to serve our flights. Because the number of cabin crew this year and at present and the previous year was very much less, because of the number of flights.
The airline companies, however, remind the traveling public to be at the airport at least 3 hours before an international flight or 2 hours for domestic flight with their complete travel requirements. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
This just in, the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF, approved the temporary suspension of inbound international flights from South Africa, Botswana, and other countries with local cases or with the likelihood of the B.1.1.1529 variant. Inbound international flights from Namibia, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Eswatini, and Mozambique are also suspended. This is effective immediately until December 15, 2021. Meanwhile, the Bureau of Quarantine has been directed to locate travelers from these countries in the recent days, and they shall be required to undergo full 14-day facility-based quarantine with RT-PCR test on the 7th day or upon location of the passenger.
For the news abroad, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women marked their celebration with a global outcry. Countries from Europe and Latin America joined in the protest, including Turkey, where things turned ugly. Jane Robles details why live. Yes, Jane?
Kath, thousands of protesters hit the streets of Madrid, Barcelona, Paris, London, Guatemala, and Honduras, demanding an end to violence against women. In Istanbul, where hundreds of protesters had urged the Turkish government to rejoin an international treaty designed to protect women, riot police fired tear gas to break up the demonstration. Earlier this year, the Turkish government had abandoned Istanbul Convention Center on grounds its gender equality principles undermine traditional family values. There were 345 women killed in Turkey this year, according to rights groups. In Spain, rallies chanted as they marched past historic buildings. Protesters were also expected to rally in Chile, Mexico, and Venezuela. Meanwhile, Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez posted on his Twitter saying that eradicating sexist violence is a national priority. Based on the United Nations Organization for Gender Equality, nearly 1 in 3 women worldwide has experienced physical or sexual violence, mostly by someone they know. Kath?
Thank you, Jane Robles, reporting live from Vietnam. A new initiative to progress through the greener phases of transportation has begun, and that is battery-powered airplanes. Nerissa Dando will tell us the details live. Good evening, Nerissa.
Good evening, Kath. After an agreement to reduce greenhouse gas emissions was made between airlines at the United Nations Climate Summit last month, eyes have focused on battery-powered aircraft. The leading airline electrification company Aviation, created in 2015 by Omar Bayouhe in Israel, aims to produce clean and environmentally friendly aircraft. With many investors around the world, Aviation has been able to produce the first ever electric aircraft named Alice. Aviation's Alice aircraft is battery-powered with an electric propulsion engine which was developed by sister company Magnex. The aircraft can also carry a maximum of 9 passengers with a payload of 1,134 kilograms. However, the aircraft is limited to a travel distance of a maximum of 440 miles. With a limited duration, it is not yet suited for long-distance travel around the world, but it is very efficient, only needing 30 minutes for changing to reach full capacity. Additionally, Bayouhe states that e-aircrafts are priced at $100 to $120 per hour of flight, depending on the battery use, which is significantly cheaper compared to regular aircraft currently used. DHL Express has purchased the first 12 Alice e-cargo planes, and it is reported that aircraft Alice is set to begin test flights before the end of the year. Beth?
Thank you, Nerissa Dando, for that report live from Japan. A man from North Korea will be executed by firing squad after being caught distributing copies of the South Korean TV series Squid Game. It is believed that he brought USB flash drives from China to sell copies of the show in North Korea, according to a report by Radio Free Asia citing unnamed sources. The student who bought the USB and watched the show together with 6 other students were severely punished under the Elimination and Reactionary Thought and Culture Law. This law prohibits people from North Korea to watch, keep, or distribute media from foreign countries and will get a harsh punishment if caught. Engineers and students in Cincinnati develop an autonomous robot that can open doors and recharge itself. Nina Armilia reports.
Sometimes life closes doors because it's time to move forward. But what if one of those doors is opened by a robot designed to be mobile? It is said that doors are kryptonite to robots. According to Oh Ma, an aerospace engineering professor at the University of Cincinnati, robots can do many things, but if you want one to open a door by itself and go through the doorway, that's a tremendous challenge. But this has been finally solved by students in the University of Cincinnati's Intelligent Robotics and Autonomous Systems Laboratory. According to an article published by UC, the students are now building an autonomous robot that not only can open its own doors, but also can find the nearest electrical wall outlet to recharge without human assistance. But wait, this robot has to teach itself how to open a door, essentially through trial and error. This can be time-consuming initially, but the robot corrects its mistakes as it goes. Simulations help the robot prepare for the actual task, said the study's lead author, Yu Feng-sun, UC College of Engineering and Applied Science doctoral student. Meanwhile, according to UC master student Sam King, service robots have taken off, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic, when tedious tasks such as disinfecting rooms with mists or ultraviolet light could be automated. And their project takes autonomous robots to a whole new level of independence, he added. This simple advance in independence represents a huge leap forward for helper robots that vacuum and disinfect office buildings, airports, and hospitals. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Kat Dumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening.
Ghanaian woman who has been suffering from a disease for 4 years now wishes for some comfort and a way to roam around. And because MCGI cares, her wish has now come true with God's help and mercy. Nina Armilio has the story.
A loving parent and a generous person. This is how Caroline describes her mother. Whatever she has, 75-year-old Eunice makes sure to share it with others.
Family house michi ezo vasere fifie elele chela amekehenya yonye metonye unchula ache fifie ejedo ta hole fila to gobe eletefe de ka chela de vizi kobete la femela ne amede vananwila en manekle de viewe ndi ke fra ewato watila akune de viopete nenu lesila ya de kame mezaneo ejeba medechene po enomita ko abeti tefe de kala amoten pena de mian because ekpeyeda me enya mede kekel no ame.
But what worries Caroline is her mother's health condition. Eunice has been suffering from elephantiasis for about 4 years now. Elephantiasis, or lymphatic filariasis, is a disease caused by parasitic worms that are spread through mosquito bites, an illness common in tropical countries like Ghana. Eunice is left with only her daughter Caroline to care for her and provide her with daily needs. But Caroline has no stable job right now. There is nothing more pacifying for Caroline than seeing her mother get comfortable again amid her sufferings. All Eunice wishes for is a wheelchair so that she could at least roam around and spend some time out of her bed. But a wheelchair is something they cannot afford. What with their measly resources? And because MCGI cares, with God's help and mercy, Eunice's wish has come true. Now she has a new wheelchair and medicines too, plus free grocery items from MCGI Free Store, both for herself and her daughter.
No. Ele keke wa akpomia wa me na sita wa igire ne keke re gi wu eke ame dakpe gare na we dakpe ne ma wu nto ke pere mi apete wu me dakpe na ma wu de Members Church of God International abobo fagbeta me dakpe na nu no la fagbeta abe fe gbogbo eke no nyejedo meten gazota matan do aponde kala fireko ta nukunu sike mi va wane mi la egbera ogbolo bude mi ta me ko apedada gande denu nunu ndudu gbogbo ke weta be mi ako ano agbe Be ne fede kayo feve fra edoma wumio. Akpane mi ka kama une yirami. Ne don se mi ne keke radeji. Mi ame si okete nye doala nunola ole chachare. Ma une don usemi.
For all these good deeds, to God be the glory forever.
Before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 6, it says, "Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee." Those are the reasons behind the news, November 26, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Sinusubaybayan po natin ito. Bagamat hindi pa naman siya nagte-take over katulad nung Delta, nakakabahala rin yung mutations na taglay nito.
We did not do this to escape or to hide from the investigations. I was just exerting my rights. And the documents that was asked from me and my sister, we have provided. The documents that are being asked from me was never addressed to me up until we were already detained here in the Senate compound.
Basta kami, Bongo, Sara Duterte is Vice President, and adopting all PDP laban senators and allied groups.